Welcome back to the Sideline Report. Marvin Jackson, Donna Hopkins, and Moises Linares here talking football. And our old DC football trivia question that we mentioned before the break. What year did Washington have their worst NFL season record in their franchise history? Moises, Donna?
I'm going to go with somewhere in the 50s.
Okay, was it when they had those leather helmets?
They might need to go back to the leather helmets.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably was somewhere within the 40s or so forth.
Okay. All right, well.
Did they have the leather helmets then? No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't know. But the answer to this question is the year 1961.
Oh, wow.
Washington went 1-12. And Bill McGee was the head coach during this season. I'm sure he was frustrated during that season, but for you history lovers out there, this was the year before Washington integrated the team. They were the last NFL team to allow black players. In 1962, Bobby Mitchell came over from the Cleveland Browns in a trade, and a couple other players came over as well, and they became more competitive. I actually spent some time with Mitchell at his home last winter, and here is what he said about head coach Bill McGee.
This is my first coaches, Bill McGee. Right. Bill was the first coach when I arrived. Never got credit for how good he was. It was early years because, and here's a guy who had 4 members. He only had 4 coaches. Now today it's 20-something coaches as most teams got, but he had 4 coaches, and he still did all right. Did pretty well.
All right, Bobby was very complimentary of Coach Bill McGee, adding that he was one of his favorite coaches, and he said that he really didn't have a lot to work with. Bobby, though, was a great playmaker and receiver, ball carrier. Bobby had to play second fiddle, though, to Jim Brown in Cleveland, but he quickly became the man in Washington.
Right.
And is a true Hall of Famer, Bobby Mitchell. I had a great time with Bobby,
assistant GM.
That was a very interesting part of history that I think fans need to know about. They forget that sometimes we live in the present and forget about the roots. Where did the team come from? You know, what have they been through? And some of the players like this one that you mentioned, we don't know about.
Yeah, and Darryl Green even mentioned, he said, you know, Bobby was the guy that made it all possible for them. Right. So.
Well, we'll remember that from this point on.
1961.
But I wanted to forget the fact that they were 1-12.
I know it. Well, when Bobby came, I think they won about 6 games that year he came over. And the first team that they beat on the road was the Cleveland Browns and Jim Brown. So interesting. That's how impactful Bobby Mitchell was. And
not only that, he was an impact during the time with the Joe Gibbs era, as far as when they went to San Diego Super Bowl, when they went to the Minnesota Super Bowl and so forth. He was there during that time where the Redskins were really on top in the Eastern Division.
Yeah.
And guess who else was there? She told me she was there in San Diego.
Yeah, when they were winning. I said, I'm ready for another one of those Super Bowl trips.
She was a cheerleader. Now let's move on and make our predictions for the 2013 regular season and postseason. In the AFC, who are your picks for division titles? In the AFC East, who do you have?
I'm going to take the Patriots.
Okay, you got the
Tom
Patriots.
Brady, Belichick, it doesn't matter if you don't have Gronkowski, if you don't have Aaron Hernandez. I know there's a new injury. They're falling apart, but with that quarterback, me and you could play like you were telling me.
Exactly.
You and I could be wide receivers.
Exactly.
No, but you think about it, that division is not really strong as it was in the past years and everything. It's hard to say right there. You don't want to count the Patriots out because of the fact you got a Tom Brady. But will they be the same because they've got problems in their receiving core, their tight ends and everything. So I'm up in the air with that one still.
So who would challenge them, Miami?
Possibly, but
I see
mean,
Miami as a playoff team, as a wild card.
Right, but Miami, you think about Miami, I think they'll be better, but still, it's a work in progress with a new coach, you know, from last year and quarterback.
What about the AFC North?
Wow.
Who do you have, Marvin?
I have the Ravens. I'm going to stick with the Ravens.
Not me.
The division, in my personal opinion, I think the division is pretty weak.
Pittsburgh's
the Baltimore,
weak.
yeah. Baltimore Ravens, although they don't have all the same pieces, are still a strong contender in that division to take it and win it again.
I think they're going to get stronger as the year goes on.
I think Cincinnati. I'm going with Cincinnati. I think that they've got all the tools. They've got the running game, good quarterback, good. Even though, you know, the first game they struggled, but I think Baltimore, I don't think that they're going to be on top of that, and definitely not Pittsburgh.
All right, well, we got to move a little faster. Let's say AFC South. I've got Indy.
I like them too.
I got Houston.
You got Houston. Okay.
Houston.
And,
I think running back wise,
I think Houston may be in the playoffs, but I don't know. I think Indy's going to get them this year.
Yeah, I like Indy.
I have Indy as a wild card.
Okay, so you have Indy as a wild card. Okay, great. And the West, Denver is my pick.
Without a doubt.
I think that's everybody's pick.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Slam dunk.
Yes.
You saw what they did to Baltimore?
They look pretty powerful.
They look good. They can put points up on the board.
They look good. Like to see their offense going up against Philadelphia Eagle offense, huh?
Yeah.
Quick moving, you know.
Right.
And we'll see them against the Redskins as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the NFC East, I'm picking Washington. That's a tough decision though, because it really depends on
a lot
Robert.
Of pieces.
If Robert
I think we can agree that the NFC East is probably the toughest division in the NFL to this point. It's been for the past few years. And now I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the Washington Redskins as well.
I'm not going to agree with you all either way, because I think that all three of those teams, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Redskins, can win the division. And I think it's that even between all three of those teams.
So who are you picking?
Question mark.
Okay, question mark. How about the North? I got Green Bay.
I like Green Bay.
Yeah,
I think they still have all the pieces together. And who's going to knock them off the throne?
Green Bay it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
They're going to be 0-2 though after this
Monday. I agree with you on that one.
The South, Atlanta.
I think New Orleans.
New Orleans. Wow.
I think Sean Payton back. He's going to turn that team back around.
Okay.
I'm with you, Donna.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
I love Atlanta though. I think, you know, they're going to do okay.
They will.
West, San Francisco, and I've got Seattle as the wild card.
Woo.
I know you want Seattle.
No, I like Seattle. I like San Francisco too. I mean, I think that they've got the wide receiver core, I think, in Seattle. But I'm going with San Francisco and because they've got all the weapons. But it's going to be close right there. Seattle definitely would be in that race.
All right, Super Bowl, AFC, NFC.
I'm going to say the Denver Broncos and the Redskins.
Okay.
Denver will be there. Gosh, it's tough. I think New Orleans will be there.
Okay. All right, I'm going to say Denver and Seattle. Seattle's going to go as a wild card and go to the Super Bowl. Okay?
Gosh, we do this so early.
Okay. But we're going to go back later in the season and go back and look at it again. But